you ever heard of lifestyle creep?
Oh.
Where you make
I've
more
heard of
money, then
this,
you
but
start
tell me about
spend. You make more money, so then you start spending more money.
Yes, I've
and
seen
so
so
you're
much
not
of that.
necessarily saving any money, and so you're kind of in the same situation, even though you're making
You'll go
more
on more
money.
trips,
You go on
you'll
more
get-
trips.
yeah.
You eat.
You'll
you
get
know,
a bigger
more
house.
expensive meals, better car. The opposite of lifestyle creep is like if you're in debt, like okay,
I gotta dial it
I gotta
all
dial it back
yeah.
down. All the what did I used to do 5 years ago that I'm like, oh, I used to eat at a cheaper place 5 years ago. Now I'll eat at the fancy place, or something like that.
Yeah, and also just realizing like if you can't pay it off right now, like you shouldn't put it on your credit card. Like that's why like a lot of people when you're not supposed to use credit cards for the first couple of years after you've been in debt, because they need to teach you like that you shouldn't, if you don't have that money, don't spend it at all.
Yeah, and that's something we talk about. I mean, we talk about points a lot, and you get points through credit card signups and all that. But we're always saying,
now that I'm responsible,
pay off your balance
before it even comes.
Just pay off your balance every month. That's part of the big part of the points game.
Yeah, so that you don't have to pay interest, because if you're paying interest, it's not worth those points.
Yeah, and these points cards have high interest rates too.
Yeah.
So you just if you can't afford it.
Yeah.
Don't get into this game.
And there's always exceptions to the rule that if you have an emergency that happens, like I always get some random jump scare medical bills, like I have to get a root canal, like
right.
You might have to put it on a credit card until you get your next paycheck and stuff. I get that, but usually if you can't pay it off right away, you shouldn't be getting it.
Yeah. And so there's one story I want you to tell.
Yeah.
It's
the
your
401k story.
Your 401k story. This is the biggest mistake you've made,
and
it's
so dumb.
It's pretty funny though.
Yeah, it's dumb and funny at the same time, and it's like, okay, don't do this. Do what I say, not what I do, because, so. I was at least smart enough to get my 401k match, like the company I worked for matched you 3%. So I think I did 6% or whatever, so that they match 3. So I had a good amount in my 401k, and you can every once in a while you can take a loan out on your 401k. You should only take a loan out of your 401k for big emergencies, and or if you're gonna buy a house, like all these major life events. What did I do? I took out money out of my 401k to get a tattoo by Kat Bundy. And it's an amazing tattoo, but get out of here.
Spectacular.
I know, and so I ended up paying for that tattoo, because you had to pay back the interest on your loan. And so at least I was paying back myself, but still, it took me years to pay back that little teeny mini loan, back for this tattoo. It's of my cat Snickers.
It's a nice tattoo.
It's a great tattoo, but I think it was like $2,000 plus tip, whatever, because, it's Kat Bundy. I think it was back then it was $1,000 an hour, which is very expensive, but it's an amazing tattoo. So it's like to be that silly to take out a couple grand. It was because I wasn't using credit cards at the time, and how was I going to pay for it? I didn't have the money in my debit, I didn't have my savings.
It's there. It's
I was like,
tempting.
ooh, I'm saving this 401k. Well, I don't need that until I'm like 65. Get out of here, So yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Just don't get the tattoo if you can't pay for it.
Yeah. It can be hard to look at when you're 25 to think about when you're 65. It's just
I know. It's like
so
I want access to
abstract.
that money now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just so abstract to think about. 40 years from now, I've only been on this earth for 27 years.
Yeah, and I feel like now since I did take that money out, because it was like you're only allowed to take a loan out of your 401k like once or twice or something. But I feel like since I did that, now I can't. I can't even think about taking a loan out now if I needed it. So good thing I don't need it right now.
Right.
But yeah, don't do that. Also, I think it's smart I started investing during COVID, and that was probably not the smartest thing to do with the stock market, because it was very, it was volatile. So right now it's coming back up, and I'm just glad that I've learned to invest in a lot of different ways. Now I have a high yield savings account. I have, bonds for my mom. I invest a lot of her money in bonds because it's stable. I don't want to be risky with her portfolio. I want to make sure that we have access to it, and also it's still growing, but it's not risky.